Springbokradio presents the Silver Jubilee Show.
The Silwerjubileumparade.
Its many happy returns to Springbok Radio on its 25th anniversary coming up tomorrow morning.
En dis veelsgeluk met die verlede en voorspoed vir die toekoms aan die gunstelingstasie toegewens.
25 years of brighter broadcasting behind us and a wonderful future ahead of us. So join us now, and for the next 2 hours you can enjoy looking back with us. Enjoy the voices, the music and the programs of the past. In fact, everything that made Springbok Radio your station for brighter broadcasting.
And now, on with the Silver Jubilee Show.
We present, entirely unsponsored for this special edition, Deadline Monday Night, May the 1st, 1950.
Good evening from Adrian Steed. Featured in tonight's presentation of Deadline, the bill being prepared in the House of Assembly to deal with communism, the riots on the Reef, and visiting film stars Dennis Price and Jack Hawkins. But first, let's have a look at the boom in air travel. South African Airways have reported an unprecedented demand for seats by air to London.
For the month of May, we have put on no less than 14 Skymaster flights to London. This means we will be able to fly 162 passengers from Balmeetfontein Airport and pick up an additional 123 passengers at Nairobi. Going via Nairobi, Khartoum, Tripoli and Castel Benito, the flights take 36 hours. Before the end of the season, South Africa hopes to introduce a full Constellation service to London with a flying time of only 24 hours.
There was another indication of progress this morning when at 6:45 the voice of Springbok Radio was heard for the first time. With me, I have Mr. Pierre Lowe, Assistant Commercial Manager of the new service, Springbok Radio. Mr. Lowe, good evening. And
Evening.
Could you tell us something about the background to this new sound on the airwaves?
Well, it started, I suppose, with Parliament authorising the establishment of such a service during the 1949 session of Parliament last year. Immediately afterwards, Mr. Gideon Roos, the Director General, got together a team of 4 chaps from the existing services, the English and Afrikaans. Mr. Cameron McClure, the new head of commercial service, Mr. Bob Griffiths, now our commercial manager, Mr. Con Lamprecht, responsible for the music policy, and then myself looking after the production of programs. With us, we also have Mr. Bob Lord, a member of a big Australian network, who has brought us all his knowledge of this new form of radio, well, entirely new to us anyway.
And how are you feeling today?
Well, all of us, I think, feel tired, but very happy. It was a tremendous feeling when we first heard Eric Egan on the air this morning.
Now, just to remind you that you're listening to our special issue of Deadline Monday Night, Monday, May the 1st, 1950.
It's Monday night, we reach our deadline on Monday night. Be our edification and your delight. Our headlines hit deadline on Monday night.
First voice heard over the new transmitters of the new Springbok service of the SABC was that of Eric Egan, specially selected because of his sparkling personality on the air to launch the program on each new day. A man loved by every listener, especially the very young.
I love you. First of all, if I may sound a little egotistical, I was the first voice on Springbok Radio when it started. I was the first news editor to the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Barbara and I wrote the first indigenous murder mystery serial that was ever broadcast on South African over the SABC's wavelengths. And quite a number of firsts. I walk out of Broadcast House and decide to go to shop Elos Street. And on the way there, I suppose I pass about 6 or 7 blocks, and I'm stopped at least 4 or 5 times by perfect strangers who come up to me and say, hello, Eric, look, I've got a good corny crack for you. And 9 times out of 10, A, I can't tell it because it's not quite nice, or B, I've heard the thing before. I am the only ukulele player in South Africa who has played ukulele solos accompanied by the Cape Town Orchestra, the Cape Town Symphony Orchestra, conductor William J. Pickrell. Now, put that in your orange and suck it. I played Rubinstein's Melody in F, but A little secret, I played it in G because it's easier. My favorite song that I always sing whenever we go on long holiday trips and I'm sitting in the car driving along, what do I say? I'll be loving you always with a love that's true, always.
That was the first man on the air for Springbok Radio today, May the 1st, 1950. But who was the first lady, and what did she feel like? Sheila Raymond Jones.
It was the first sponsored program to take the air at 9 o'clock on that chilly May morning. It was Sunbeam Time, a program of listeners' memories and music. 4 discs and the memories these conjured up. You know, a sort of romantic, yet poignant, nostalgic program with a lot of love, a good many laughs, and, of course, some tears. It was very popular. Sunbeam Time was on the air 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, for 3 1/4 years. And during this time, I made many radio friends and correspondents. Oh, one lady in particular, Mrs. Doreen Ivy of Donotta in the Transvaal, who was one of our first prize winners for her program in Sunbeam Time, has kept in touch with me every Easter and every Christmas for 25 years. And yet, we've never, ever met. That's the wonderful thing about radio friendship. It lasts.
Well, we've got another Springbok voice for you to meet on our special deadline program, so over to Dana Nihas.
Vir André Brink beteken die verjaardagfeesvierings van Springbokradio besonder baie. Hy en sy versoekprogram André se keuse het 25 jaar lank saamgestap. André, hoe voel jy vanaand?
Vanaand voel ek baie trots daarop dat ook ek die kans gegee word om op Springbokradio met sy 25ste verjaardag vir hom geluk te wens. Die trots en dankbaarheid spruit voort uit die feit dat dit in September ook 25 jaar sal wees dat ek op 'n Sondagmôre op Springbokradio uitsaai. Aanvanklik was my program net 'n halfuur lank. Dit het kort gerek totdat dit 'n aantal jare al 4 uur lank duur. In hierdie tydperk het luisteraars gekom en gegaan. Vir luisteraars wat ek met hul eerste verjaardag geluk gewens het ek al goeie wense uitgesaai met die herdenking van hulle huwelik. U sal dus verstaan dat ek baie bly is om nou vir Springbokradio te kan gelukwens met sy 25-jarige bestaan.
Baie dankie, André Brink. Dit was goed om jou te ken en nog steeds Sondagoggende na jou te luister.
Well, I think that just about wraps up Springbok Radio in Deadline Monday night. Monday, May the 1st, 1950, our first day on the air.
And now that we know what Springbok Radio sounded like and felt like on that first day of May 1950, let's listen to some of the hit tunes of the era, revived for us by Dan Hill and his band. With the band tonight, we've lined up 5 singers whose names have become household words with our listeners. In the first medley, you'll hear the voices of Julia Mann and Jimmy Rayson. The band will revive the first hit tune in Springbok Radio's history. Music, music, music!
Bokkie, jy moet nou huis toe gaan. Bokkie, jy moet nou huis toe gaan. Bokkie, jy moet nou huis toe gaan. Want my trane die rol oor jou bokkie. My trane die rol oor jou bokkie. Daar waar die son en die maan ondergaan. Bokkie, jy moet huis toe gaan. Nee, 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 me dolla nee. Nee, me dolla nee. Nee, me dolla nee. Nee, 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 me dolla nee. Ek kry nie met 'n loskop dolla nie.
How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do hope that doggy's for sale. I must take a trip to California and leave my poor sweetheart alone. If he has a dog, he won't be lonesome, and the doggy will have a good home. How much is that doggy in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do hope that doggy's for sale. I do hope that doggy's for sale.
Hello, this is Clark McKay on our 25th anniversary. Who's that?
Hello?
Is that John Walker?
You're speaking? Hey, I know the reason why you're calling me, and if you're getting me clearly on this long-distance call, let me say right at the beginning that I want to wish you all a very happy 25th anniversary, Clark.
Thank you very much, John, and we wish you a very happy anniversary. You're part of our show. You realize that?
Well, yes, as an old establishment member, I was going to send a special telegram over, but this will take its place adequately. And, I imagine you'll all be having a party, and I should have a beer for you.
Johnny, we do miss you, and we wish you were here to celebrate in actual physical fact, but why don't you tell the folks listening in to us right now about some of your happy memories with Springbok Radio over the years?
Well, Clark, how much time have we got?
Oh, about 3 or 4 minutes. To cover 20 years.
Memory and mind's eye, so to speak, arriving on the second last of the flying boat services from Egypt to Vaal Dam in 1950, just after Springbok opened. I don't know whether too many people remember the old international flying boat at Vaal Dam. And staying at the old colonial pub, the Carlton, that used to be in Elof Street, remember?
I remember it very well.
Well, I was met by such people as Norman Fulmer, who was Deputy Director General, and Bob Lord. Bob was there. And also my dear old friend Van van der Walt, the Secretary, and they took me straight to the Carlton, and that was quite an exciting moment for me to actually, after 8 or 9 days of flying out of Sydney in those old days. But of course I can go back to establishment programs of quiz nature, disc jockey nature, and the packages we made with various people. The shows I did, like Give It a Go, traveling all about the countryside, meeting people in all the major cities. Quiz Kids with Henry Howell as question master, and after that Philip Birkinshaw. They're most happy memories of meeting people like the late Andrew Kay and Jack Dowell and Peggy down in Durban, my great friends down there. John Stanley, when he came into the picture, is now running his own production house in Johannesburg. In Los Angeles recently, Clark.
Yes.
And in the thousands of stations over there and the hundreds of radio stations in Australia, you know, the open telephone line programming is very big. And that is something we invented in Johannesburg at Christmas time in 1950.
In 1950?
Bob Griffiths, who was commercial manager, and Mac, Cameron McClure, who was head of the commercial service, and we had a long discussion about this special feature for Christmas Day, and we managed to talk the telephone manager into letting the other side of the telephone conversation come back on the air, and so was born a real phenomena in radio in this country and the United States, so I suppose in other parts of the world too.
So that was the beginning of the open telephone line broadcasting. What are you doing in Sydney these days?
Well, I'm a senior advertising representative for a newspaper called The Australian, and I took it on because, as you may remember, I brought Nita, my late wife, back here because she was very ill, and she couldn't live any longer on the Highveld. And anyway, she had a fairly good 1969 and 1970, but she died in 1971. I was very grateful to have this job, which took up my daytime hours. And I've been with them ever since, quite frankly. They're very nice people, and it's a very good paper.
John, I would like to thank you very much for calling us here on our 25th birthday, and all of us at Springbok Radio. And thank you very much indeed, John, and may we wish you all the happiness in the future.
Well, thank you, Clark, and again, all the best and a most happy birthday, and I look forward to hearing... I get SABC magazine fairly regularly, and I hope it never stops coming over. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Not only was the open telephone line broadcast something new to South Africa, but a new style of comedy program evolved on Springbok Radio. And who better than Ken Taylor to tell us about the joys and sorrows of the population of that fictitious village somewhere in South Africa, Witblits. Come in, Ken, and tell us all about it.
Thank you. Yes, for 12 years, Harold Cobb's orchestra swept us your way with that beautiful theme, Lucky Star. The Celtic Show was born on the 6th of February, 1951, and delivered on Lorenzo Mark's radio initially. Foundation members were Leslie Richfield, Gabriel Bayman, Jeffrey Slaymaker, Bill Perrin, Molly Thompson, and myself. 15 months later, on Saturday, 3rd of May, 1952, the show made its debut on Springbok Radio, where Kathleen Lee and Helen Braithwaite joined the cast, and later, Flippy Laker as Classy, the Witblits garage apprentice, who was knocked about in every opening scene by Jeff Slaymaker.
Now, come on, Classy. To work, boy, to work.
Not me. I'm going on sick leave.
Oh, what's the trouble?
I think I think I've got water on the brain.
Water on the brain? I think we'll soon cure that.
Hey, man, what do you think you're doing?
Just the thing for water on the brain.
What?
A tap on the head.
Soon, various characters grew to be household pets. Leslie Richfield and Gabriel Bayman played a good 10 characters between them. You remember Leslie frolicking around as the artistic, oversensitive Humphrey.
What's the size of the baseball?
I say, can I help you?
Well, I'm sorry, Hump, but this is tricky. I'm going to fiddle with a model.
Oh, anyone I know.
No, Humphrey, please. He means he's going to help Jessie build a model village.
Oh, goody gumdrop. Oh, I say, do let me help you.
And you also heard Leslie, and will remember him as the peppery Indian Army type Major Muscle-Loader. Like Jeffrey, Leslie Richfield sang many an amusing comedy song, too. But Leslie's most lovable character was undoubtedly the Witblits businessman of all seasons, Solly.
Aha, you want to do it a little Disney?
Now, look, if you so much as mention drums, I'll knock your block off.
Who wants to talk such rubbish on such a lovely day? And me just coming back from a nice lunch with Mr. Nochamovic.
Well, don't mention drums.
Drums here, what a Heimschmerl. All I'm telling you is about my lunch.
But what about your flipping old lunch?
After the loction soup comes the chicken. And with my luck, I get the drumstick.
Scene breaks were graced by many romantic singers. Muff Evans and Billy Jones were followed by Ruth Ray, Joe Bevan, Mercia Minard, and Claire Scott, with Sid Kay taking most of the male romantic ballads. Gabriel Bayman specialized in the country's dialects. He was Isaac, the quick-witted, light-fingered shirkwork.
Hey, das Wasserpreps got a job for Isaac Preps.
Well, it all depends. Tell me, have you got a drum that doesn't belong to you?
No, master.
Then beat it.
How can I beat it if I haven't got it? Tell me, why does master want to buy a drum? Is master then starting a tiki drive band or something?
Do I look like a man who conducts a tiki drive band?
No. Master look more like the stick that the man conducted with.
Gabriel was also the irascible Indian hawker, Ali Putsak. But without doubt, Gabriel Bayman's most renowned character was the portly law enforcer of Witblits, Constable von der Tronkesen.
Hey, what's going on here?
Well. Constable von der Tronkesen, what are you doing here?
Well, I should think it darn obvious, sir. I'm in the act of reporting a fire. Sir, if you also wishes to report a conflagration, you got to form a queue. I'm reporting a fire. I got to get...
Tell me, have you got any of our drums down at your police station?
Why are you inquiring?
Because distribution's exhausted and we have a bottleneck.
Uh-huh. Did you got a license?
And into the national vocabulary went, did you got a license? An event of which I'm very proud. When Leslie and Gabriel left the Cape for Johannesburg, into the show came two chaps with a comedy flair which still amuses you today. Bill Prince and a slim, shy little bloke who'd never broadcast before, but just knew that he had something to give. Do you recognize him?
500 books to be put up on our shelves. And there's all very posh books too. For instance, this one here. This one is Treasure Island by Robert Lousie Stevenson. Then we got here Jock of the Bushveld and Kontiki Expedition and Robinson Crusoe. Now, dis 'n lekker boek daai. It's all about the ou that get deserted on a wrecked island.
Yes, dear old Pip Friedman, who now has a Saturday morning show all his own. So that was it. Lots of hard work, far exceeded by the hours of fun we all had. And no writer-producer could ever receive greater loyalty and application from a more dedicated cast. Who knows? Perhaps I can now dust off the jokes and use them again.
Intussen staan Jimmy Reisen en Gene Rockwell weer microfoons kant toe om vir ons saam met Dan Hill en die orkes weer so 'n paar van die Springbok treffers van die vroeë 50's te sing.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make her complexion like peaches and cream. Give her two lips like roses and clover. And tell me that my lonesome nights are over, Mr. Sandman. I'm so alone, ain't got nobody to call my own. Please turn on your magic beam, Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Banagalo, and Zulu boy will understand. Banagalo, that magic word from Zulu land. Jim, shine your furniture, oh Jim, shine your furniture. Papa does it, renovate. Banagalo, and Zulu boy will understand. Banagalo, that magic word from Zulu land. Party in the county jail. Prisoners swam, they began to wail. Men were jumping and the drum began to swing. Should have heard them knock that jailbird still. Let's ride. Everybody, let's ride. Yeah. Everybody in the whole cell block, it danced to the jailhouse rock. Sad sack sitting on a block of stone. Over in the corner weeping all alone. Said anybody, don't you be no square. Can't find upon the gravel with your chair. Let's ride.